Hello all. This is the CS Ed Podcast, a podcast where we talk with educators about teaching computer science. We are gearing up for season 4 and we have big plans. First, we've created a Patreon. Yes, that's right. The podcast is moving to become self-sustaining through audience support. If you'd like to keep this podcast ad and sponsor free, please consider becoming a Patreon member. Of course, please only chip in within your financial abilities. Think of it as buying the podcast a coffee or lunch once a month. I try to keep costs down to a minimum, but there are still costs to producing this podcast, even if I'm not paying myself. Your support would be much appreciated. Patreon members will get direct access to me to give feedback on the podcast, and I'll post exclusive content on what's coming up. You can find us at patreon.com/CSED podcast. That's patreon.com/CSED podcast. The link is also in this podcast description and on our website. In addition, mixed in with our usual long-form deep conversations, we are going to bring in a new kind of episode, TPBs, Teaching Practice Bites. That's Bites with a Y, where I talk with a fellow CS educator about a practice they have in their classroom. And this is where you come in, my dear audience members. If you have or know someone with a good teaching practice, I'd love to hear about it. Please reach out to the podcast's email address at csedpodcast@gmail.com or my own email address at ksm@cs.duke.edu. And that's it for now. Please look out for the first episode of Season 4 coming out soon. We are talking academic misconduct. Also, consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/CSEdPodcast. And please reach out if you've got a good teaching tip or practice you'd like to share. Take care of yourself, and you'll hear from me again in this podcast feed soon.